Welcome back to TOSH Pilates online video library, where we are focusing on our 5 basic principles of Pilates. I am Sarah, and today we will be focusing on our head and cervical spine placement, so our head and our neck. This will be the first of 2 videos, and we're just going to work through some movement that's going to help us get into the correct muscles, work them more efficiently, and prevent any injury. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and lay down on your mat. And actually today I've got a towel with me, kind of like a hand towel. So if you've got one close, grab it. If not, keep this thought in mind when I do use it. So go ahead and lay down on your back. All right, so I'm just laying down comfortably. My knees are bent, my feet are flat, and I want to be tension-free through my head, neck, chest, shoulders. Now, if I'm feeling that my chin's really pulling up to the ceiling and just laying here like this, I'm already feeling a lot of tension in my neck, then we're gonna grab this towel. I've got it rolled up a couple times or folded up a couple times, and you can place it under your head. If you have a block at home, that could work as well. I'm going to take mine away today, but that is there if you feel like you need to take some tension away from the neck. All right, so we're going to focus on some little chin nods. This is going to be the smallest movement you've probably ever done, the smallest movement you've ever called an exercise, but it's good for us. So all you're gonna do is nod the chin to your chest. So you're taking a nice big inhale, and as you exhale, you're just gonna do a tiny little nod of your chin. My head doesn't even leave the mat. And then I release. Tiny nod and release. I like to feel the back of my neck here, and as I nod, I kind of feel that it gets a little longer, right? Our neck curve kind of curves towards the front of our body, right? And I'm kind of getting rid of that curve a little bit as I nod my chin and release, nodding and releasing. Okay, so you're probably like, okay, why am I nodding so much? You're going to feel some tension release out of the neck as we do this, as we apply this. Let's go right into it. I'm going to have my arms down by my sides. We're just taking a nice big inhale. Exhale, you nod the chin first, then we start to curl the head and shoulders up. And then we roll back down, head relaxes. So it's that little nod. We continue to follow that nodding feeling as we curl up without digging the chin down, and without lifting the chin up, right? So I nod, and then my forehead kind of continues that nod as I roll up into my little crunch. And down. Yep, so I think there is another video focused on these little nods and this exact movement. We're gonna keep expanding on that, okay? So now what we're gonna do is lie on our stomachs. You don't need your towel for this one. Go ahead and put your towel or your block, whatever you might be using, to the sides. And we're gonna lie down, forehead to the mat, hands under your shoulders. So we've now done our flexion forward. Now we're gonna do some extension and see what happens with our neck here. All I want you to do is lift your head and chest an inch or 2, and then lower them down. So it's small. And I want you to notice what your head is doing as you do this. Oftentimes when we start to lift the chest, we really start to lift the head and the chin, and our gaze goes forward. Now, if you take a look at me, maybe you notice that that totally cuts off the line of my spine. I want to feel length in the back of my neck, so I drop my chin down. Now I've got one long line from my head down to my toes, really, and then lowering down. So I'm keeping the back of my neck long. Go ahead and keep moving through this, but remember, we felt the back of our neck when we were doing our little chin nods. We're keeping that long feeling here. Lifting up. Now, go ahead and relax for a moment. Let me just chat with you. So this is not to say that your head doesn't move at all when we lift, right? So sometimes what starts to happen is we lift and we leave our head where it was, And now you might feel some tension in the neck. It feels just kind of awkward, right? And then I lower down. So there's got to be somewhere between looking up and keeping it exactly where it was. So what I like to imagine is a little marble in front of my nose here. I'm relaxing down, there's a little marble in front of my nose. I'm gonna roll that marble away with my nose and then continue that feeling to lift myself up. And then lower back down. And remember, we're not trying to get too high here, we're only lifting a few inches. So I roll the marble away and we continue lifting and lengthening and lowering. Yeah, so I get a little bit of extension through the neck as I start to lift, but I'm not overextending. And lowering down. You can also just think of lengthening the crown of your head forward and then lifting and lowering. And we'll just let's do like 2 more there. So we have to continue to think about the neck being a continuation of the spine. Go ahead and relax. If you need to press into a child's pose or anything, go for it. Kind of stretching out the back. But the head and neck is a continuation of the spine. So we don't ever want to leave the head hanging out back here or hanging forward. Yes, maybe a side view would be better. We don't want to be forward. We don't want to be back. Head stacked over shoulders, over ribs, over hip, like it keep going down. We want to be nice and stacked and aligned. So that movement matters. If my spine is extending, my head and neck have to extend with it. If my spine is flexing, my head and neck have to follow along. Yeah, so we can move the muscles more efficiently. Yes? Okay, we're gonna now focus on it a little differently. So I'm gonna grab my towel again. So I've got it folded up, maybe rolled up a couple times, just so I have a little bit of thickness to it. And go ahead and lie it on your mat. And you're gonna lie on your side. Okay. So we do a lot of side lying positions in Pilates. So just like lying on our back and laying on our stomach, when we're side lying, our neck should be in line. Now I'm feeling most people need a prop under their head here. I'm feeling like this towel isn't even enough. I'll try to roll it up one more time and it still feels like my head is hanging out. So oftentimes what I like to do is use my arm. But this isn't always comfortable for people. So maybe a towel, a blanket, something to really prop your head up so we're not hanging out here. See how this puts so much strain on this side and I'm really crunched up on my other side. We want to be nice and aligned. So finding the best way to get your alignment there. And we're not really going to do much movement here. Typically we would do some side leg lifts, right? Maybe adding some arm stuff with it. But really we just want to focus that when we are in a side lying position, we are making sure our head and our neck are still stacked in line, as if we were standing, right? We're just flipped over to our sides. So something to keep in mind with that one. Okay, last movement, we're going to do a plank. So go ahead and set that towel to the side, you don't need it. And we're going to come to, let's go to our hands and knees to begin. So, and if you absolutely can be on your forearms if you'd rather do your plank on your forearms. Just to run that in there. So, for our planks, let's just go ahead and go for it, right? Let's lengthen the legs long, and let's take 3 deep breaths here. Inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. Okay, and lower down. Now, maybe you started to feel, I know that I started to feel it within myself, that when I was in my plank, I'm not going to go into it again, but when I was in my plank, my head slowly started to go forward. It didn't get that far down, but the longer we tend to hold our planks, the more our head starts to drop down, our chin goes to our chest. So what I actually like to think about here is a little bit of engagement through the arms. Oftentimes when we go into some plank type positions, we lock the elbows and the eye of my elbow there, is forward. When really I want to soften those elbows, and those eye of my elbows or the pit of my elbows are facing one another. And while that seems like something weird to think about with my neck, when we start to do that, the shoulders start to lift, the neck starts to tense, and that's when it wants to start to drop down. So, something to think about. Let's just try our plank again. Let's do 5 deep breaths here. So we're kind of challenging it, and we're challenging that neck staying in place, staying in line with the spine, okay? So go ahead and lengthen out into your plank. And maybe you notice already, I'm noticing my arms are totally locked. So I'm gonna soften my elbows. That's gonna be more work in my arms and shoulders for sure. And I'm keeping my chin off of my chest. My gaze is straight down. That doesn't mean straight down here. It means just straight forward. And I lost my count. Let's do 2 more big breaths. I can already feel my neck slowly. It's small. Maybe you didn't even see it, but I had to really think about lifting up out of those arms and shoulders, lifting through my head, lowering down, and relax. All right. So a few places we can really think about our neck placement, our head and neck placement, right? So flexion, we're letting the head and neck follow in flexion. We're letting it follow in extension. When we're side lying, we want to make sure it's stacked. When we're in our planks or push-ups or anything, when we're really putting weight on our hands, don't let the chin start to fall to the chest, shoulders up to ears. We keep it all stacked, all aligned, and our necks will thank us for it. Keep following us along to learn about all of the Pilates principles, and we'll see you next time.